5:16. So I think it's time to start up the meeting. Now, do we have we have enough. Okay.
Crystal said she would be running.
Crystal will be running a little late, and I don't know where Trustee Nelson is, but we'll get started here. I'd like to bring to order Rock Valley College Board of Trustees, Community College District number 511, regular board meeting for January 27th, 2026. Can we have a roll call? Our Secretary Pro Tem, Robert Trojan.
Goldsmith, Blake.
Here.
And Gorski.
Here.
We do have 4.
So we have a, oh, okay. Can I have a motion to have Bob Trojan serve as the Secretary Pro Tem?
So moved.
Seconded, motion by Gloria, seconded by Bob himself. Roll call.
Trojan here, Simpson.
Here.
Padilla.
Here.
Nelson, Soltow, Goldsmith, Blake.
Here.
And Gorski.
Okay, thank you very much.
We got 4. Quorum.
We've got a quorum, and we just voted to make sure you're the secretary, so. Okay, so we're good. So, and Trustee Soltow and Nelson, I expect in presence, just a few minutes delayed though, all right? So I don't expect any board member attendance by means of other than physical presence. So do you have any communications and petitions and/or is there anybody here for public comment?
No communications or petitions. No one here for public comments.
I have some communications addressed to the Board of Trustees from the City of Rockford Public Works Department, and it appears to be documentation simply welcoming us to our at least 3 addresses that we have in downtown Rockford, and I'm going to pass this along to President Spearman so he can forward to appropriate staff.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other communications or petitions? Okay, hearing none. Recognition of visitors.
We do have visitors tonight. However, they'll be recognized during the general presentation.
And general presentations. Item number 1, review of remodel design options for classroom building 2, Bailey Edward Architecture. And that's the first time I said that correctly now.
Shocked. So, good evening, board.
Good evening.
This evening we have invited architects to come and speak with you about the CL2 project. Prior to them speaking, Ellen Olson will speak in regards to the potential financing for financing these projects. And then afterwards, when Ellen is done, we will have Ellen Bailey Dixon and Damon Wilson from Bailey Edward Architects to come up and speak regarding the CL2 project and some of the options. Ellen?
In preparation for this meeting and the presentation by the architects, I researched how the college could possibly pay for the additional project cost based on whatever the board may decide this evening. We do have working cash bond capacity, which has been verified, of $7.9 million. As brought up in the committee of the whole, we are doing a fund transfer to the OPEB fund this evening. If the board so chooses, we could then, we could do a subsequent transfer from the OPEB fund to Fund 3 to put an additional $1 million towards this project. Also, the initial $18 million that we deposited to the CDB trust account has earned a little over $1 million in interest that we can also put towards funding this project. I'll say this in my mind, I'm trying to come up with a total of $10 million. What I spoke to brings me up just $50,000 short. I do expect another $50,000 worth of interest off that $18 million in January, which puts me at a potential to fund this project of $10 million based on whatever is decided tonight. The final structure of our funding, how we're going to pay for this, will be based on whatever decision the board makes tonight. Do you have any questions of me before I hand it over to the architects?
I'll start. No? Gloria, anything? Bob?
So you are saying you can fund this project of the extra 7.9 with internal money without going to the bond market?
No, I'll have to do $7.9 million in bonding.
Oh, you still need 7.9 million?
Yes. I
Bonding.
can do 7.9 million in bonds. And then, because I think the total project is really, depending what you choose this evening, which I don't know yet, I have another $1 million in interest and some change, and another $1 million that we could use instead of taking the money back out of OPEB and put it towards Fund 3 to pay for this project.
So how much extra bonding will there be?
Depending what you select, it could be up to $7.9 million.
Assume it's the more expensive one.
$7.9 million.
That would be bonded.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, just to clarify, we wouldn't be bonding out for the full amount. You would use money from the interest and then money from an OPEB transfer.
If the board would approve a transfer from OPEB to Fund 3, yes.
And if we don't approve the OPEB transfer, can we bond out add that to the bond?
I am capped at $7.9 million from working cash funds, using
Okay.
that one. If we wanted to do more than that, I would have to do the two-step bond process, which is a longer process.
But if are we going to eventually bond out for all of it?
No,
No.
we'd only bond out for the 7.9.
Oh, okay, all right.
'Cause
So, how do we replenish the OPEB then?
Over time.
Over time.
Remember when we talked last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
We have overfunded the current liability of the OPEB
Right.
fund, so we are fine right now, but if we have excess revenues in the future, we can continue funding the OPEB fund.
All right, I just want to make sure this doesn't put it at risk.
No, it will not put us at risk right now.
All right,
How much of the OPEB would come out and how much would stay?
So right now, I think it's at like $12 million. I'm going from memory. Don't hold me to that number. But tonight, you're going to approve a fund transfer that includes $1 million going to OPEB. So next month, I would just do a fund transfer, taking that $1 million back out of OPEB and putting it to Fund 3
It's
for
a
this
million out
project.
of OPEB, million out of OPEB.
Yes.
So you'd still have quite a reserve left.
Oh, yes.
Trustee Soltal joins us at 5:24 PM.
Any further questions?
Trustee Nelson, we'll give him 5:25, give him a minute to sit down. Kristen, anything, any questions? John, Ellen just recapped that we would be bonding out for $7.9 million to go against the most expensive option for the CL2, one of the options, and then $1 million coming out of interest from some money we already have invested there, and then we would have to transfer about $1 million from OPEB to help pay for the most expensive option that will be before us tonight. Do you have any questions for Ellen on that?
No, I don't have any questions for Ellen, but we're just considering two, right?
Really? Well, that's gonna, we'll find out in the next part of the, you've got here just in time for the architect discussion, so there you go. And I'm not making light of it, you'll hear it out. Any other questions then? Crystal? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll hand it over to Bailey Edwards.
Oh, and thank you for asking us to visit. I am Ellen Bailey Dixon. I'm one of the founding partners for Bailey Edward. And Damon is going to do the predominant amount of presenting information, and I'll just be his support for this. We're very excited to be here. We always love to work on projects that are going to improve and exhilarate campus. And we see this Classroom 2 renovation as doing that and really helping to take the Rock Valley College to another level. Why don't we go ahead and go to the next slide? And Damon, why don't you start us? Oh,
Thank you, Ellen. I'll just say thank you again for having us here. So we have a couple slides that give just a little bit of background for how we got to where we are. So a couple slides of background. After meeting with all the program departments, we created these program blocks which illustrate each requested space from each of the departments and their relative size. We use these blocks to then lay out different options within the existing building and the proposed addition. So this is kind of our starting blocks that we start with. This next slide shows some comparisons of the spaces that are existing in CL2 in the first column. The second column is an illustration of those space blocks that we just saw on the previous slide. So the requested space from each department. And then on the right is the available square footage at the top from the existing CL2 building. In the middle, the 9,000 square feet, that was an assumption at the beginning of the project of how big the addition would be. And at this point, we could see that the request in square footage was larger than the existing building and the assumed 9,000 square foot addition would be. So we had to then do some different options from these assumptions. So we also needed to reconcile the requested program with the budget. And so in today's dollars, the original budget would support around a 7,600 square foot addition with the original budget of the project. A substantial amount of that budget would be required to improve the existing building before able to add on the addition for the black box. So it gets reduced in this option number one. It's a little bit compromised with the smaller black box, reduced support spaces, and a pre-function space, which is not as conducive with others as the building would expand to the west in future additions. There's no large ensemble rehearsal space for music, and that is one of the things that came up during this discussion. And then we want to point out that this was the original option one that was within the original project cost or budget of $35 million. There's a design two budget that when we're working with CDB, this is the construction budget. And then there's a total project budget that includes other soft costs. Just as a reminder as we're looking through. So from that point, we looked at other options to see how we could get more of the requested program included with possible more square footage and more budget. Option two included a larger black box, but did not include the large ensemble music rehearsal space. Option three included all of the program spaces, but located them to the east of the existing building, which there's some negative aspects of that. So including the existing building would be kind of covered from daylight. Possible approval from the State Historic Preservation Office. They may have issues with placing the building here because they want to take care to keep this east facade of the building clear. As well as hearing from staff that placing an entry so far from the rest of the building was something they really didn't want to do. It was too remote from other occupied areas in the building. So that kind of removed option 1, 2, and 3, and that brings us to focusing on options 4 and 5. Option 4 has a 210-seat black box theater at the ground floor level and the large ensemble music rehearsal space at the first floor level, one level up. The back of house access to the black box studio is good with this back of house corridor around each side of the theater. The pre-function space for the theater is set up well for expanding the building further to the west with any future performance spaces. This version has a larger 2D art studios in the upper floor, but from further conversations, the priority would be to include a 3D sculpture studio and reduce the other art studio sizes at the second floor. Looking at the cost, this one, total project cost of $44 million, 7.8 over the construction design 2 budget, 9.1 over the total project budget. Option 5 then was an evolution of option 2, which reduced the theater size here to fit the large ensemble music rehearsal space to the west of the theater, while keeping the same overall footprint as option 2. The theater has about 170 seats in this option, Access to the theater support spaces is a little bit compromised where it does not have that back-of-house corridor. Locating the large ensemble music space on the same level as the theater may simplify the construction, but it may cause some traffic flow challenges between the theater and the music space. So those are some cons for this option. At the second floor, similar to option 4, the 3D sculpture space is shown with a reduced size in the other art spaces to allow that to happen on the upper floor. And then we have a comparison page that summarizes all those same pros and cons and has the costs at the bottom and images at the top. So that option 5, total project costs $42 million, 5.9 over the construction budget, 6.8 over the total project. That's all we have tonight. To start with, any questions?
Oh, wait. We're discussing option 4, Avenue 2.0, and option 5, RVC, because of other reasons to exclude the other 3. Plus, we only really asked you to address 3 and 4 and 5. So thank you very much for doing that. And I understand the reasons against 3. And I just want to remind the board members, when we're talking about the money that we're talking about tonight, this isn't the cost for the total project, as he did, and thank you for reminding us gently, the total project costs. We're just approving additional dollars that we hadn't originally anticipated. And again, though, we started this process, well, with us 2 years ago, but really, how long ago? 15 years ago? Something like that, 14, 15, is that about right? So we're come a long way. I really don't want to stumble at this point. It's not a few dollars, it's a lot of dollars. I know it's a kind of a tough pill to swallow. And my message to the board would be to advance one of these, hopefully tonight, and also to the administration, we're done after this. It's be $90 million in projects we have going on. I think that's all we can swallow for now, okay? If you're good with that.
Sounds good.
If you don't want to, if you want us to pull this off the agenda, let me know now. Okay, so I'm going to start from this side. Crystal, anything? No? Yeah? No. Gloria?
I guess the only thing I would have to say is about 15 years or how long I've been.
Longer.
Yeah.
And
Gloria? No, but we can't hear you.
oops. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I guess I would say, to your point again, that, we've waited not only 15 years, but more. I mean, even before any of us were probably on this board. And prices are not going to go down either. I mean, that's one thing to consider, not just here, but in general. So I would say we seriously need to take a look at this, making it happen one way or the other. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, and before I pass it down, does this conclude FF&E? No, this is just build out.
FF&E is a separate budget that's part of the soft costs,
Yeah,
which is the total cost.
the total cost?
Total cost. Totally separate. But there's a separate bucket already for
Okay.
FF&E.
All right, thank you. Okay, Bob?
So I know we saw it 2 weeks ago, but could you refresh me? What was the enrollment numbers, and are they different for each of the 2 options? I know maybe you can't answer, but somebody from administration can.
Yeah, we can't answer.
I think Bob's question was, we are projected with enrollment numbers for the arts, kind of music and theater, and that's what they are now. You're asking what the projections would be?
What's the incremental, what's the new enrollment, and are they different for each of the options?
It would be similar for both of the versions.
There'd be what?
It
Similar.
would not have separate amounts based on whether we went option 4 or option 5.
I know.
Okay.
But what are they, or what do you project them to be for each option? Can you tell me?
I can pull that up. That was what was distributed at the
I mean, to
count.
me,
so-
if we increase enrollment because we're spending more money, that makes sense. But if we're not increasing enrollment, why are we spending it?
We have the capacity to increase enrollment by having the Black Box Theater and then music added 1 or 2 additional academic programs?
Yeah, so we do anticipate increasing by bringing back some of the programming that we formerly had, that we have not had recently. So yes, having the black box will allow us to increase programming in theater, not only acting, but also directing, costuming, things of that nature. And then as far as music, we're able to bring back more ensembles and also some recording and business music technology that we have not had previously.
And that's not just programming, that's curriculum, that's courses
Curriculum,
that we
right.
can offer for the credit side of the house.
Yes, yes.
And
Thank you.
admittedly, Bob, I mean, even if there was a slight difference, it's still going to be a high cost per head, even amortized over a 25-year, period. But it's part of the educational mission of the institution and the long-term goal to create this space. I still support it.
So you have music and the black box on both ones, on both alternatives?
Yes, and we
So
also.
once again, is there an incremental enrollment, one versus the other? No.
I think
You
you're
say-
asking if we will have more enrollment in one of the spaces over the other.
Yes.
And that is not what we are expecting to see at this time.
So enrollment will go up, but not different.
Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, yes, we can't guarantee that. I mean, whatever we decide to do in the space, we'll develop strategy to grow and sustain enrollment in there. And then in one of the spaces, do we have less academic program options in option 4 or 5?
The only thing that I would say, if you look at, so part of what we've got here is we also go to the boxes, is that we're also talking about shared community. Doing education is also part of this still. The WEI is still part of this. We have a lot of increased shared amenities. So it's not, those aren't necessarily pure enrollment. I don't want to speak out of turn, but, there were more program spaces, i.e. more rooms to do different things, which then would give you the opportunity to have more to fill in.
I appreciate your input and speaking out of turn. It's always good to hear, an opinion on it, so thank you. Kristen?
I have 2 things. Have we been given any sort of budget on, and this is not a question for you, this is on additional staffing and the classes offered yet? Or have you guys worked that out yet? I'm assuming we'll need additional.
Yes, we have been working on figuring that out. I provided some information to Dr. Spearman. We anticipate that we will need to grow our theater program with 2 positions, 1 faculty member, 1 program director. We anticipate that the additional needs in art and music can be solved through adjuncts at this point. It's hard to plan exactly. We always want to remain nimble, but still meet the needs of our programming. I also wanted to say the main difference for option 4 and option 5 is size of a black box. And so according to what we've spoken with our colleagues in the black box space, which is, I'm not an expert, is that we'll still be able to meet our needs with a smaller black box that we see in option 5 as opposed to option 4.
And then my second question is, do we then also have an update on the cost for the architects with the 2 different options with square footage? Is that in here,
That's
or did I
built
miss
into
it?
it.
Okay,
Yes, that's built into
Oh, it's
the
built in,
total
okay.
project budget.
thank you, okay.
And the total project, so the Design 2 budget is just construction dollars. There are other items that the CDBG fee, there's our fees, commissioning agent that's in there. Art and architecture is also part of that. Now, that's only CDB's portion of the art and architecture. So again, just to reiterate, because I was a little bit away from the microphone, there are CDB fees, and architecture and engineering fees included, commissioning agent fees. So that is part of what is included right now in that overall total project budget.
Thank you.
Trustee Nelson.
Thank you very much. Bob, I am reminded when I looked at these options of the cost to install the second elevator over in the health center, which the previous administration to this one thought it would be a good idea to eliminate to cut costs. And I see the same kind of thinking applying here. The total project cost of option 5 is 40, and these are the words of our speaker. He said 42, but I see 41.9 million. I have no idea if it's closer to 42 or not. And then I see 44.1 million. Now, and I have no idea if it's closer to 41 and a full 0.1 or closer to just over 44. But let's just say that best case scenario, it costs $2 million extra to do the job right. For me, if we're going to spend this kind of money, I want a kid from this area to come in and look at the black box and be knocked out. Oh, this is a beautiful place. I could do well here. I can just imagine myself as a star in you name any number of plays, rather than looking at it and thinking, ooh, well, this looks like kind of a okay place. And if we want people in the arts to come here, and believe me, there's a big market for that. And, you know, as you know, Bob, my son has his BA in theater from Illinois State University, and they've invested a ton in revamping their theater department alone. This to me, as is one of your favorite sayings, Bob, a no-brainer. And I'm strongly supporting option 5. And if Bob, I can turn on a dime, and option 4, excuse me, and I can turn on a dime, and next time something comes up for maybe something you're a little more interested in, I'll be cutting costs like crazy. I just want to put that on the table.
I would hope that more than one kid would be excited to see the black box. Because you said a
they
guy.
all will be.
I would hope more than one.
All right.
And I might conclude by saying, I have seen I've been to plays at the Black Box in the Elgin Community College, and I've been to the Black Box in the Harper Community College, and I've seen some not good but great theater there, and I have to say the Black Box knocks your socks off at both places. And, you know, for an art student, or at least a theater student, they're going to check out all their options. And but the other thing I want is their parents to come in and say, this is a good deal for Rock Valley College tuition. I don't have to send my kid to Illinois State University. I don't have to send him down to the University of Illinois. I don't have to send him to Wisconsin. They can get a good start right here and get a jump up. And I will say this also, we have a lot of talented people in this area. We've had famous actors since Kitty went off to Gunsmoke, and so with her partner who went to Beloit College, who was the sheriff, and continued down to this day. So, but it takes real training and real experience and learning how to audition and learning how to really act. And these are the kinds of things that Rock Valley ought to stand for. And as Gloria so eloquently put it, we've been waiting, I think, even longer than you've been on the board, Bob, and you're our senior man for this project. And I don't want to see it nickeled and dimed at this point if we can avoid it, and I think we can. Thank you.
Bob's grinning like, John, I'm going to vote for it. I was
John,
just doing my
you're
job.
convincing me.
Okay.
John, you're convincing me.
Kristen, you had your.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Bob, did you want to rebut anything other than the might conclude and he didn't
No, I
statement?
think certainly the point that John made about the difference of 2 million between one versus the other is certainly an interesting point. And it's not that I'm against art of any kind, music or drawing or whatever, printing. But, you know, I got to ask the questions, right?
Right.
Yes, you do.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask, how many more students are we going to get into this new revised building? Because that's what we're all about, right, is bringing students in, not spending money. I mean, spending money, but bring the kids, right? Bring the students in. So anyway.
Well, and I'm sure the construction company is going to use AI to drive down the cost, Bob.
Oh, John.
All right. Hearing none, John raised his hand, but yeah, I think unless you had something substantial to add.
Something different.
Yeah, something different, yeah.
I'll pass.
okay.
The student trustee wants.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for you, Amanda. In terms of the arts program here at Rock Valley College, the enrollment towards these programs of students, is it above expectations or below expectations?
Or even.
Currently?
Or meet.
Yeah, currently, for this school year.
We have well, for this school year,
Yes.
I don't know that I've looked at it program wide for this year. Last year, I think it was about, we've been doing very well in our arts program.
Okay.
We expect to continue to see that moving forward, as both of these models include a space for us to go into a medium that we haven't had before, which is 3D art, as well as doing more collaboration between graphic arts and the visual arts with 2D printing or printmaking. And so those are some areas that we haven't had in the past.
Okay. I just ask because, I mean, to Bob's point, it's, I mean, even though $2 million is, you know, a little bit of a difference, the thing is it's $2 million going towards, you know, an option that we, I mean, from what it sounds like, we may or may not know the projection of students that are going to, you know, grow eventually into having this type of, you know, building, if we were to spend that amount of money. That is just one of my concerns, is that could we be able to save some money, I mean, with, I mean, option 5 and still get the same thing? I mean, my thing is, if we don't know really how many students are going to grow if we go with the larger option, I mean, is it justifiable? I mean, is the $2 million justifiable in putting towards that if we can't? That's just my comment.
And before you answer, the administration, and correct me, Dr. Spearman, if I'm wrong, came up with option 5, Avenue RVC, as a cost savings option, knowing that you'd have to come before the board looking at this. But is it your staff's, not recommendation, but acknowledgement that option 4, Avenue 20, is probably closer to what we actually agreed on a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yes.
So by approving option 4 or the spending for option 4, we're really going back to what we originally agreed on, and it's just kind of like the cost of doing business is gone up since then.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to respond to Isaiah, or
Or may I?
Or you, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I understand, great questions, great point. With option 1, when we stay within the budget, we lost functionality. We lost the opportunity to engage, teach, help students grow in the academic space, because majority of the money went to literally the renovating of the, modernizing the building. So now you had to go into additional options, option 4 and 5, and look at that space. We provided, I don't know, a while ago to the board the numbers regarding the academic programs. I do believe our programs have an opportunity to grow. RPS has a CAPA program. Our Starlight Theater has a strong youth component into the program. These are all recruitment and pipeline opportunities. So I'm not concerned as much about the growth opportunity. We just don't have those numbers in front of you to try to give you some set number tonight.
Well, I'll just correct you. You have some numbers, because following this presentation, we have a state of the college and a 10-year financial forecast. So
Yes.
some of that information will come out of that,
That is true.
overall projections that could speak to the well-being of the college and whether or not we're financially able to absorb that additional $2 million, in costs. So
And then, Ellen, is the $2 million a major difference in the bonding efforts?
if we drag the project along, we'll just keep on earning interest.
Whether
and we
I'm
can-
bonding for $5 million or $7 million or $20 million, it's still a lot of work. So the amount does not matter.
The work is a lot, but the actual amount that we're paying back each year for that $2 million difference, would that be a large
No,
amount? Okay.
no. A matter of fact, the estimate is if we bond out for $7.9 million and then just paid interest and then paid it off in the end, I believe it just be 2033 to keep the level flat. Over the time, it would be an increase of $1 per $100,000 EAV.
Sounds like a bargain. You should do late-night TV infomercials or something like that. Any other questions for the architect? Okay, Gloria.
I just want to address the potential of enrollment. As many of you know, we do have the 6 counties we serve. And in all those counties, how many high schools have marching bands? Plenty of them. And those young people are also pursuing musical degrees at other universities and colleges that are not here. So that's a big market that's there. We even have the Rammy Awards locally. And I'm referring to the music industry because I come from a musical family. In fact, we're in a 4th generation. And not that I want to brag, but one of my nephews' bands were nominated for a Grammy. I mean, they actually went to Los Angeles and everything. So that potential is there. And I'm going to stop talking about my family. I mean,
You can talk about your family.
Congratulations.
I was just going to say something that you said a while back when we were running for office, but,
You can share. Is it pertinent?
well, it came up, what was it you said, or what was it we were talking about? All you had to do was call the Cardenases and ask them to vote for you, and you'd
I've
win.
advised Gloria, if she ever wants a candidate to run for Rock Valley College trustee, just have your family and friends share it with their family and friends, and whoever you want will win, Gloria. In the low turnout races that we have, her family is rather expansive, and yes, as we've discussed recently, they're on their 4th generation of musical talent in her family. So I know that Gloria, while maybe not part of that part of it, like I'm not part of the acting part of the Gorskys, but we do share an interest in theater and in music, and me and my wife's music, and John in theater. I think we all do, and I don't know if $2 million over the cost of the bond is going to be all that significant. Are we going to see more students for it? I don't know, but
I think we will.
I'm looking at the cons, smaller black box, compromised traffic flow, and smaller visual art studio. So I'd like to, if we're going to do it, let's maximize our opportunity, at least, for success. Because if we already go into it, hamstrung, then, I don't think we're doing anybody any favors here. My question would be, so will they be able to use the black box theater and the ensemble space at the same time without noise drowning out and everything? Okay. Any other questions, Bob?
Would option 4 allow us to team up with some university so that we could afford or provide a 4-year music or other kind of arts degree and bachelor's degree, similar to what we're doing with the engineering with NIU? Would this allow us to go that step?
It provides us the opportunity to do that. We call them like a 2+2 agreement.
Yeah.
So we have several 2+2 agreements with all of the public universities and several of the private universities in the state. And yes, this would allow us an opportunity to do that, but we can't guarantee that until we look at the transferability of each class. But yes, it definitely provides
Yeah,
that
I know you
opportunity.
can't guarantee it, but I would certainly put it on your agenda to pursue it.
Yes.
And can't say I don't do you any favors. Now, it also depends on him coming back and asking for more money for the programs and for the faculty to make it happen. You really can't offer, you can't really create the coursework unless
Right.
Everything. There might be a need to, like we were quoted some numbers earlier this evening, but to meet that goal, we might actually need
Well, you don't
something
hire
more.
everybody at one time. You
Right.
may hire the coordinator,
Right.
build the curriculum,
Yeah, right, I
build the
understand.
recruitment, and
Right.
then you
Yeah, I
hire.
understand. It's a
yes.
building block
Yeah.
process, but at least you follow that road, whereas if we didn't approve it, then you couldn't follow the road.
Right.
So the bug is in your ear.
We definitely would do that.
Follow the road.
Trustee Nelson.
Bob, I still know people at Illinois State University, and we might be able to get them interested in that.
Well, good. I mean, that's the kind of building block that this would allow us to do.
I think we can.
We look at the 2+2s annually and try to
What
revise
we're
them
doing
or
with
add.
NIU and engineering program. I mean, that's exactly the building block.
Any other questions for staff or the architects?
I think we're good.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
do
Yes, thank
appreciate it
you.
very much. This was very useful. Thank you for coming in.
Appreciate your time.
Yes. All right. Any other, is there anything else that was the two-parter for that presentation then? A and B for that part, right? Yeah. Okay. So now we're moving on to the state of the college.
Good evening, trustees. This is our annual State of the College report and report out on questions. So first, I just kind of want to walk the trustees and audience members through the process. On January 12th, the trustees received our recording of the State of the College, which included information on our mission, vision, core values, strategic plan, district demographics, enrollment, student success, employees, finance, and community, and also looked at our progress towards strategic plan scorecard targets. Trustees had 1 week to send any questions they had from that recording to Dr. Spearman and his team. And tonight, CFO Olson and I will address those questions that were submitted. So you can go ahead and go to the other presentation, the Q&A. No, you're fine. I'll address all the questions that are non-financial in nature, and then I'll turn it over to Ellen to address the financial questions. So the first question that was submitted was, how would the job trends data be impacted by the opening of Stellantis? And unfortunately, we just don't have enough information to answer that question. I'm sure you've seen Stellantis was in the news again this week. As soon as we have enough information to make projections, we will do so. The second question has to do with the impact of artificial intelligence. Can I control this or, oh, I can? Okay. Oh, I'm back. Okay, so the second question had to do with the impact of artificial intelligence on jobs in various segments impacting our region. And AI could have a variety of impacts. Of course, there are some jobs that might be decreased based on the ability to automate them, but there also may be new jobs created because people will have to do the advanced part of programming, AI, algorithms, et cetera. And then many jobs will require new skill sets. We're hearing a lot from our industry partners that they want people with some basic baseline AI skills coming on board, and not just in computer science related jobs. So that expands into healthcare and manufacturing. Across industries, people are looking for employees with AI related skills. So what we're doing is we're building competencies into our coursework across programs. We are starting in CIS with the introduction of a new course. We have a course in business that I believe is already being offered, but really beyond courses specific to AI, we're embedding it across the curriculum.
I would be particularly interested in hearing once a quarter or so from, was it Peter, who is reaching out to the community and offering AI services, for lack of better words, to see how much is taking place and what kind of response he's getting, and kind of interesting to follow up with him. Let him come to us, rather.
I would just ask, let's ask for an update in June. Will that do, Bob?
Thank you.
Okay. We have the ever-present question about enrollment trends and return on investments for the programs that we've made investments in, and we will provide an update to this regular report at the February regular board meeting. That includes programs offered at the Advanced Technology Center, our NIU at RVC, nursing, and aviation, I think, is included in that report as well.
Yep.
There's a couple questions about employee culture, and specifically in the recording, I had indicated that trust and leadership was one of the items that we were working towards improving, and I made a statement that it wasn't improving fast enough. And that's because we strive to reach an ambitious goal. We have seen improvements year over year from all three administrations of the employee culture survey, from 2.79 to 3, and then to 3.2 on a 4-point scale. But because our goal is to meet 3.54 by fall of 2027, we still have work to do. And some of the action items we've already identified include listening circles, which Dr. Barnes and his team have been spearheading that effort, and it's a process by which you gather groups together and listen more in depth about how they might feel about the different items on the culture survey, so you can really get the why behind the what of these numbers. And then also, based on faculty feedback, we've already made changes to the cabinet page of the intranet. The feedback was, we can't rate this because we don't know who's on cabinet. And really, I think it's like a nomenclature thing. What is cabinet? What do they do? But we listened and we created a page on the intranet, so internally, that outlines all of our responsibilities and has links to bios about each of us so that people can know what we do. And finally, this one is ongoing still, but we're still analyzing the fall 2025 culture survey results, and our goal is to identify additional action steps by the end of this semester so that we can improve trust and leadership and other things that we're concerned about as well. There was a question about staff equity gaps. So if you recall, the greatest equity gap is among Hispanic members of the community for both our staff and our faculty. They're underrepresented group. So I'm just going to read this one to you because I want to get it right. But RVC does not hire based on race, ethnicity, or gender. We cast a broad net for job applicants, and every person we hire is qualified for their position. So we're not hiring based on equity to fill those gaps. If we were just doing that, we would have closed the gaps, so that would have been easy. Equity and meritocracy are not mutually exclusive. We aspire to create a highly qualified, diverse workforce by encouraging a variety of people to apply for open positions, and we want everyone on campus to have a sense of belonging. That's the last non-financial question, so if there are any questions that are not related to finance, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Ellen.
I'll start with Crystal, no, Isaiah, Gloria.
The only question I would have, is it possible for us to get a copy of this,
Yes.
of the, the results?
We got it right here.
The Q&A is in your packet.
I guess I missed it.
That's okay.
Okay,
There's
thank
also
you.
an executive summary. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. There's an executive summary at your place as well for the whole state of the college.
Okay. Bob,
No, thank you very much.
Kristen, oh, John.
No questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, yeah, really, thank you. Sometimes we see that cursor, but thank you very
Appreciate it.
much, appreciate it.
So the next question was regarding non-credit net revenue, and why is this category at a loss? This category will operate at a loss, and it's primarily driven by overhead or personal costs to support these programs. So we've added personnel over the past couple years to support and grow these programs, but there are capacity limitations to some of these programs. For example, in CNC, we only have so much equipment. Also, fees for some programs have not been aligned with cost and have kept pace with the cost over the years. So our non-credit revenue goal was very ambitious when we set it. We've learned more about non-credit metrics, and we're going to define appropriate goals and determine whether overhead costs should be included and any course pricing that we need to adjust. And as a reminder, the non-credit category included workforce development, which includes CNC, truck driver training, collision repair, tech works, and customized training. It also includes community education, which includes CLR, and continuing education and traffic safety.
Question. Would there be any possibility of finding out from other community colleges about their success in this area as a benchmark? I mean, are we similar to other colleges or dissimilar or in between? Is it possible to get that kind of analysis?
Dr. Stewart, do you have any comment on that one?
I think he's looking, if, let's say we called up like Harper and said, what is your non-credit revenue, course revenue? I mean, actually, they probably have to supply it under FOIA. So, and how do we compare to other community colleges?
Yeah, we could definitely take a track at what other community colleges do when it comes to non-credit revenue or even community ed programs and continuing education programs. But I could tell you that our system here is a little more streamlined and a little more structured how we do things here, because I've been at other places where the president and the administration, they don't really care about community ed and continuing education, even though continuing education is workforce development. They have not had a structured approach to it. That has been my experience.
I mean, would ICCSB have any information you could glean from them?
But we could do some research and see what other institutions.
It'd be interesting to see how we compare with other institutions.
Yeah,
we
could
have to do the research and do the work and see, and then see how what programs or how they're defining workforce development at each. That may be slightly different, where we're trying to pull out the community continuing education piece or parts of it. So let us look into it.
I'll give you plenty of time. How about June or July, okay?
Yes.
June or July, all right?
Yes.
I mean, it's already February now, so thank you.
Well, not quite, but we're
Any other questions? Okay, you continue, thank you.
The next one was, what reserves do we have to cushion a potential drop-off in revenues by 10% or more? So if the revenues were to drop 10% or more in any one year, the college, we do maintain that net position of 35 to 50%, which is intended to function as a cushion. In addition, we have been operating with surplus revenues, which have been set aside to fund capital projects and OPEB. If revenues were to drop, obviously we would not be able to fund those projects or funds in the future. Furthermore, if revenues were to drop more than 10% for a prolonged period, the college, we would need to review opportunities to manage expenses, particularly the largest category of compensation and benefits. Any questions?
Question? No?
No.
Thank you.
The last question actually brings us to the next general presentation, which is 10-year forecast. So is it okay for me
Nice
to move ahead?
segue. If we have no other questions, new questions to be introduced this evening, we'll consider that portion of the meeting, State of the College, complete, and we'll move on to 10-year financial forecast.
Thank
Who's
you.
giving that? Oh, CFO Ellen Olson. Thank you very much.
Anytime. So the question was, or the request was to see 5 years prior and then focus on a 5-year forecast. So I just want to point out the purpose of the 10-year forecast is to use assumptions based on historical trends or market indications to project our operating funds, which are funds 1 and 2, to identify any potential issues and develop plans to address those. Embedded in that 10-year forecast, we project each year, so we are looking at years 1, 3, and 5. Part of the reason we like to look at more than 5 years is that it helps us to prepare in advance, as it can take multiple years for us to put infrastructure in place. A good example of that would be, as we've been watching this demographic cliff come, we invested in a CRM tool to initially and centralize and manage all credit student interactions and process and help RVC track and improve relationships. Since the initial implementation, it has expanded to include non-credit students, and we continue to work to include continuing education and community education as these projects continue to evolve and expand. I have no other comments regarding the 10-year forecast other than what was presented in the recording provided.
Questions from down here?
No.
No? Bob?
Well, thank you for doing this, because what I see here is when you compare the past 5 years to the future 5 years, the past 5 years' net income is significantly more than what you're projecting for the next 5 years, and the fund balances likewise. So I'm wondering whether your future 5 years is really conservative, more so than, quote, realistic.
Well, I don't have a crystal ball. If I had one, I don't think I'd be here.
Can we do that in the 3D art program, a crystal ball?
I don't think it would work that well. Anyhow, I would say I've provided the assumptions used in the presentation, and so yes, some of them may be very conservative.
Yeah, well, that's very good, though. I think that makes your forecast, to me, sound, because it's conservative compared to what we have been doing.
Okay.
And I know the bottom's not going to fall out, so our future.
So you're going to vote for the 7.9?
Well,
Okay.
you'll see.
Oh, so committal, Bob, so committal.
Well, we're not there yet.
Okay. Kristen, any questions? No? John?
When you say your forecast tends towards the conservative, Ellen, I've worked with you on the board now for a number of years. How conservative is it? Do you understand my question? Or?
Look at the numbers.
It's
Look at
not
the net income
extremely
line.
conservative.
Okay.
It is slightly conservative. For example, when we're looking at tuition increases, I think there were 3 tuition increases in the full 10-year one, with a $10 per credit hour increase every 3rd year. We have the potential to do tuition increases more frequently than that,
If we needed to.
if we needed to.
Okay. I don't know that the board is ever for a tuition increase, but
But that's an example.
yes, ma'am.
Anything?
Look at the net income.
And that was my question. I mean, what the likelihood, what would change your forecast to drive us, since that we can directly affect or request a tuition increase?
Correct.
You know, because EAV is EAV, pass-through dollars through the state, unless our
Tax rate.
lobbyist is doing a bang-up job and keeping the money flowing, and then they got the feds. So what would put us over, what would drive us towards, the tax rate drop, but
Drive us to having issues.
for tuition. What would drive?
Budget impasse or something.
But yeah, budget impasses will cause a definite issue. So the two areas that I would have the greatest concern about for our operations budget is the pass-throughs from the state government, and then if our EAVs should suddenly plummet.
Or even just gradually decline over years, yeah. Since you have a 10-year forecast.
Yes.
All right, well, I
But I
appreciate
think I'm only
that.
projecting EAV to increase like 2 or 3% a year in this forecast. It's not much.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, John.
Well, I understand the concern about EAV decreasing because 3-4 years ago, my home was worth about $4,000 to $5,000 more, or was assessed at $4,000 to $5,000 more than I paid for it in 1989. However, as the housing shortage here in this area of Illinois has mushroomed due to lack of construction, I believe, my clients and my friends tell me that for every house that comes on the market, there are 100 buyers. Now, so let's say that demand decreases in half, and let's say that's an exaggeration. Still, you're looking at 10 to 15 buyers, and from what I understand, and of course Bob is closer to the business climate in this area than I am, but from what I understand, there are some of our larger companies who are going to blossom with manufacturing. And if that's the case, and housing doesn't keep pace, then I don't see the EAV coming down quite as much as a normal correction you might think would happen. Plus, if all of a sudden construction, home construction, is that industry has a increase, which it should because there's pent-up demand, the EAV can't help but go up, and you've got certain sections of Rockford that they're not gentrifying, but they're being improved. I think there's some radical ideas out there for home construction that hopefully will come to Rockford eventually. In the normal course of the economy, there are ups and downs, and quite frankly, I listened to this long lecture on how every 7 out of 10 presidential years in the first term and second term, the second year there's always a contraction. And so that would be coming up next year, so we'll get a preview of that. But I don't think things are in spite of some effort, are going to go that far south. And I think we need to, and we've been trying to meet the market and provide good workers for the local industry, and as long as the local industry pays a competitive wage, which, by the way, we had to do because we were losing employees, I think, as far as I can see, we will be on reasonably solid ground. And I'm with Bob. I appreciate the cautious approach, but if we're going to try to meet needs, and we're going to have to spend money to do it, which is obvious, we want to shepherd our dollars and be able to pay off our debt, but still continue on a program of providing what we're here to provide. So I think we're doing, I don't fear a drop-off, and I don't think Bob does either, of a 10% cut. Now, the state budget, we know that's subject to an up and down source of funds, but fortunately, we don't have, we plan for that, and and the money we get from the state generally supports projects. At least it seems to me that we support projects that are maybe necessary but could be postponed. Unless I'm missing something, I have to hand it to Rick Jenks. He's modernized about everything I can think of on our many campuses, but I'm sure he'll find more to modernize.
But we're cutting off that funding after tonight's votes, though. No new spending, so it's okay.
I'll believe it when I see it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I want to thank everybody's input. I want to thank your input and your thorough report. I sat on the Winnebago County Board in the summer and fall of 2007, where we were having similar discussions, even some rather fiscally conservative members and some more people might be loose with the purse strings agreeing on maybe we consider rebates to the residents of Winnebago County only in 2 months, even just before the elections and stuff going into it. A huge crash, housing market down, people losing jobs. They didn't even have any people filing for new construction permits and stuff like that. So I appreciate the moderately conservative approach and knowing what our options are in the event something goes south. So thank you. That's it for the 10-year financial forecast. So we're going to move to item G, approval of minutes. And I would entertain a motion to approve the December 2nd, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting and the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes together. Do I hear such a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Gloria, seconded by Trustee Blake.
Who?
Blake.
Blake? Okay. Trojan, yes.
Wait, any discussion?
No.
No. Okay, hearing none, go.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Goldsmith is not here. Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to make the motion. We're going to motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting for Section 2C1 and/or 2 litigation has been filed, is pending or probable per Section 2C 11, and/or 3, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of minutes per Section 2C21, all in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Nelson. Roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. We will take a 2-minute, 3-minute break. 6:28 we'll go into that close. So give you
2 minutes.
do what you need to get into close and remove. Who do we need here for the closed?
Vice Presidents Olson and Jinks and Attorney Matthew Gardner.
Okay. So 3 minutes, folks. Let's stretch. Brian.
Well, Kristen, I'll miss you in
Yeah, yeah.
DC this year.
Do the mini
Although
pearl
it doesn't
thing.
look like I'm going to have to, like fall over
Yes.
in any.
Let's just hope it doesn't have like a blizzard, because February, I hear, is like
Nice right
the
hand
worst
there,
winter month for them. For winter storms, icy, rainy, but like a daily average of like 45, 50, which is really nice. But I think Kristen said that one time when she went there,
Oh, going to DC.
she flew home early
Well, I'm
because it
wondering
was in
how
a
it's
snowstorm the
gonna
next day.
Wow.
So-
Okay. Dr. Pyre coming?
No.
No, he's out, okay. Smart man. All right. Okay, so we reconvene into open session at 6:48 PM here. I'd like to remind people that nothing of particular interest was discussed in closed, nor did we come to any final decisions or votes in closed. So I'd like to move on to the action items, and I'd like to I'd entertain a motion to approve claim sheet December 2025 check register BR 8340.
So moved.
Moved by Gloria Cadilla,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Blake. Discussion on the claim sheet. Anything changed from the claim sheet? 1, 2, 3. Hearing no discussion. All in favor of approving the claim sheet?
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to I'd entertain a motion to approve purchase report A, FY 2026 amendments, BR 834-A. Motion?
So moved.
Motion by Bob
Seconded.
Trojan, second by Blake. Any questions on purchase report A? Any changes on purchase report? She's got the mic grabbed
No
already
changes.
preemptively. Okay. Nothing? Okay. All right. Any discussion? Nope. Okay. Roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson? Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
I know you're in a hurry to get out, Bob, and yes. Okay, do I entertain a motion to approve purchase report B, FY 2026 purchases BR 8341-B?
So moved.
Moved by Gloria Cadilla,
Seconded.
seconded by Blake. Discussion. Any changes?
No changes.
All right, no changes, no discussion, roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes, and I'd like to.
I didn't know if another one was going to come.
I'm glad we're humoring you. Can you come back into the meeting? Do I entertain a motion to approve FY 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Audit, BR 8342?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trojan, seconded by Nelson. Discussion. And as a reminder, this was presented to us in the Committee of the Whole. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. It was also presented to us prior to the Committee of the Whole. So it's been out there for a few weeks now. So hearing no discussion, I'd entertain a roll call vote.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson? Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. I'm glad we're having fun today. I had a visitor, I think I told you this once, from Lee County that sat in a meeting, just said, you guys are having too much fun. Motion to approve, do I hear, entertain a motion to approve FY 2027 capital projects request BR 8343.
So moved.
Motion
Seconded.
by Trojan, seconded by,
Blake.
let's say Blake.
Blake.
By who?
Blake.
Blake?
Okay. Discussion. Any discussion on anything? Capital projects requests? No? Anything change? All right. Roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
No.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
And Gorski?
Yes. I'd entertain a motion to approve FY 2026 fund transfer request BR 8344.
So moved.
Seconded.
Padilla and Blake, first and second. Discussion.
Sorry, Padilla and who?
Blake.
Blake.
And Blake again, okay.
Any clarification on it, any changes on it? Remind us what this fund transfer is for.
This fund transfer takes the excess revenues from the prior fiscal year, which was fiscal year '25, now that the audit has been presented, and transferring those funds for intended purpose use, the largest one being for capital projects to Fund 3. There's one transfer to OPEB, one to Fund 18 for benefits, and I know I'm missing one, but yes.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, roll call. And this is on BR 8344.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. I entertain a motion to approve revised 2026-2027 academic calendar, BR 8345.
So moved.
Seconded.
Kadia, Blake, it's a team tonight. All right.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Get her done.
I believe at the cow there was a typo or a correction that was introduced, or was that a different, that was caught and corrected, or is?
I verified that actually it was correct on here, and so I thought this might come up, so I just wanted to verify that commencement for 2026 this year is on Friday, May 15th, and next year, 2027, is on Friday, May 14th.
Okay, and my question was just more to you all to let you know that I actually do listen to you sometimes. So, but there you go.
27 one.
All right. Hearing no other discussion, debate, here roll call on BR 8345.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Okay, yes. Entertaining a motion to approve 2027-2028 academic calendar, BR 8346.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. Trustee Kadia, Trustee Blake, 1 and 2. Discussion? Debate? Okay. Anything substantially change on the calendar? No, nothing? No holidays or anything? Okay. Gorski can fit into a 2X sweater holiday, which is an achievement for me. So let's vote on it. Roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. Motion to approve Community and Continuing Education Memorandum of Understanding, otherwise as MOU, with Hananiga High School District Number 207.
So
This
moved.
would be Board Report 8347. Motion made by Trustee Nelson. Seconded by Blake. Any discussion? This an existing, just a continuing of an agreement or a new agreement?
This is a new agreement. As the same arrangement happened orally, the school district wanted a written agreement now.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, roll call on BR 8347.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve RVC Foundation funding increase request, BR 8348.
So moved.
Moved by Trojan, seconded by Blake. Remind us what this is for.
So the purpose of this is to increase the annual contribution from the college to the foundation from $150,000 a year to $100,000 annually. This is intended to help add a 5th position that would help advance the mission of the RVC Foundation.
Which was requested and instigated by the trustees, just for a record, so. I'm just making sure. You just didn't pull it out, you know?
You know,
Okay.
trustees, definitely.
Trustees did it, right? It's not like you wouldn't want it, just giving you cover. Any other discussion on this? Bob?
No, I think certainly I'm supportive of it. I think, you saw the graphs, you saw the history. Number of donors are increasing, number of scholarships are being awarded, and more applications are being, and I think there's more there to do. And I give credit to the foundation staff for the performance of certainly the last few years, and look forward to continued success. So I'm in full support. John.
All right.
Sorry.
Trustee Nelson?
I'm also going to vote in favor of this, as I have said numerous times. When I first came, they said there was 200 in the foundation. I thought it was 200 million. It was 200,000, and we made great strides since then. Great strides, but more to come. And this is a prime way to insulate ourselves against the vagaries of the economy. And I'm all for our foundation going out there. We have a lot of RVC graduates that want to give, and also retired faculty have never been asked. And I think we can, with more people, we can essentially recoup for our institution any expenses, particularly this one.
Okay, Bob?
As the liaison, I would like to submit an idea to Dr. Spearman, if you haven't already got it. Is there any opportunity for fundraising for the improvements to Classroom 2? And you could talk about it later, but I would like to have that interjected as something to look into.
Well, certainly the Black Box Theater ought to be.
That's right. If we're going to have all these musicians and artists, I mean, certainly there's got to be some donors out there that would be willing to contribute to scholarships for kids to come in.
They'll put the new person right on that. Okay, do we have a roll call then on BR 8348?
Trojan, yes. Simpson.
Yes.
Padilla.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Soltow.
Yes.
Okay.
Blake.
Yes.
Gorski.
Yes.
Unanimously approved.
Yay. Motion to approve a policy not making fun of Trustee Gorski's openness and transparency actions on the board. No, 10, approve lobbying services agreement BR 8349.
So moved?
Motion by Nelson.
No second.
I heard 3 over here.
Blake.
Crystal.
Crystal.
Soltow, Trustee Soltow. She is heard. So, discussion on the lobbying services agreement. Anything? Remind us of the length of the term of this agreement.
End of the year.
End of the year.
Yeah,
End of the year.
yeah.
With a quarterly
I'm
update.
just saying for the public, and who is the agreement with?
Letisa Wallace.
Well, is it really with her or the firm?
Her firm is light.
Probably her firm, but she's our lobbyist.
I just want to be on the record for it
I
since we,
believe it's February 1st to December
LTE
31st.
Strategies.
all right,
LIT
Light
Strategies,
Strategies.
LLC.
all right, just getting it out there. All right, if there's no other discussion, roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson.
Yes.
Padilla.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Soltow.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Gorski.
Yes. Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the closed session minutes through December 16th, 2025, BR 8350.
So moved.
Second.
Kadia, Nelson. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson.
Yes.
Padilla.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Soltow.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Gorski.
Yes. Okay, we got number 12 here. We heard some discussion on the topic earlier in the evening. So I expect maybe a little bit more discussion now for clarification. But do I entertain right now we just want to get it out there to discuss. So do I entertain a motion to approve the remodel design option for classroom building 2 BR 8351?
So moved.
Is that
What are we
4 or 5?
voting on?
And that's what I want, we got to, let's bring it out on for discussion, then we can discuss it. We got a motion, Kadia, second. Second by Blake. Okay, now we can discuss. What's your question, Bob?
Who made the motion?
I did. For
Gloria,
discussion.
and Blake seconded.
Okay.
Trustee Blake. So Bob had a question.
No.
Yeah, which one are we voting on?
Oh, yeah, which one are we voting for? 4 or 5?
I think what makes more sense if you voted for 4.
Do we have to amend the motion? Or do we, or
A
we?
friendly amendment and second friendly, then it's,
Well, okay, no, that's not just it, though. So we're talking about the design option. Are we also, as part of that motion, design option, in this case, likely 4, and the total amount of approximately $9.1 million? Do we
Yes.
have to throw the dollar amount in there?
Yeah.
Matt?
That's what it says there.
Yeah, if you could put the dollar amount. I think there should be a motion as to which of the two options you're taking. That starts the discussion. Then you can have a vote on that.
Well, we are in discussion, so we're going to ask for a friendly amendment to this, and the amendment would be approve the remodel design option number 4, in the approximately value of $9.1 million for classroom building 2. And that would be a friendly amendment. Do you accept an amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Second it to Nelson. So I made it, she accepted it. Okay. So the motion is we're approving the remodel design option 4, the approximate value of $9.1 million for classroom building 2. Is that properly constructed?
I'm comfortable with that.
Comfortable with
Amendment,
that? All right. And that would be our 8351. Any other discussion on this? Any other staff comments on it? Hearing none, roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson.
Yes.
Padilla.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Soltow.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Gorski.
Yes. All right. Approve. Thank you very much. Now we have a motion to approve the resolution of intent to reimburse certain capital expenditures, including classroom building 2 CL2 project expenditures with proceeds of a debt obligation BR 8352. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Trustee Nelson.
Seconded.
Seconded by Blake. Motion by Nelson, seconded by Blake. It's open for discussion now. For clarification, we're just talking about the debt obligation right now, correct?
Yes, that's the way I'm reading that, with the proceeds of a debt obligation. Correct.
Yes, so this will allow the college to reimburse itself for the money we are going to have to put into the CDB trust account based on the debt obligation that we're going to incur in the future.
Does the motion of the resolution that we have before us do this adequately, Matt?
Yes, it indicates that, yes, you will be reimbursing those capital expenditures with the proceeds of the debt obligation.
Okay, this does not address the other funding opportunities we're going to take advantage of $1 million of interest and transferring over and/or the OPEB transfer.
So you do not need to make any decision on the $1 million of interest because it's already sitting in the CDB account.
Right.
And so I will ask them just to apply it against any increase we have for this project.
Okay.
But I will be bringing in February a resolution for a fund transfer of $1 million from OPEB to Fund 3, a restricted capital.
Okay, so we're not done with this, folks, but we're giving them the authority to move ahead, all right? Okay, roll call.
Roll call. Trojan, yes. Simpson.
Yes.
Padilla.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Soltow.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Gorski.
Yes. No other action items. We're going to move on to new business. Did you have any new business there?
No new business.
Okay.
Okay, now what I want to bring up under new business is that it's known and we're going to have an agenda created or put out publicly for the board retreat, which is occurring this weekend. Adding to that from original plans will be a vote on approving certain expenditures by the college for related to a downtown project, and that'll be followed up with a subsequent vote, probably down the road someplace. But just to give a heads up to people, and that'll be in addition to the agenda, and it'll be a short vote at the end of the retreat. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
do we have an agenda for the retreat Saturday? What time we start and what's the agenda?
Thought that was already.
I don't think it's been prepared or posted yet, but I think it will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Posted
And it
tomorrow?
starts at
It
8.
probably won't be posted till Thursday.
At what time does it start?
No, tomorrow. We're posting it tomorrow.
Thank you. It'll be posted tomorrow. It starts at 8 o'clock with a breakfast, with a full breakfast. If you really want to, the breakfast will be ready at 7:45. So that way we can start on time at 8 o'clock.
Right.
All right? And then it's like previous retreats. We try to build in time for about 4 hours. And then we may potentially go into a closed session.
Right. But we have two, splitting up that small little non-Hawaii team building session, and then a report from Studer?
Yes, there would be a Studer, it would be a strategic plan update. We'll provide that. We'll also have an enrollment update with the SWOT analysis built into the enrollment update. Then we also will have a presentation from our CFO regarding banking and investment analysis. And then we will also have, we will also be able to talk about various takeaways and things that we are planning to do or how we're going to move forward. And the whole idea is that we're going to, and then there's a legislative update. The goal is that we're going to really try to get us to engage and connect and have these discussions, ask questions, and go back and forth. But we want to provide you with some of the issues that we've been dealing with and some of the successes that we've had as well, and just going back and forth with a good critical thinking discussion.
And Jim Reed is?
Jim Reed will be the one doing the legislative update, and then we'll end with key takeaways from the day and how we plan to move forward.
Well, we'll end the retreat, and then we'll have a brief meeting at the end, too. Right.
So we done by 12?
That's the goal. And I'll try to keep it moving along. So I'm bringing a big roll of duct tape for myself. So.
Bringing what?
A duct tape. Keep my mouth shut. So there you
Sounds
go.
like a lot of stuff.
It is, but we've negotiated certain time periods to stay focused on certain other things.
Yes,
So, right.
we have a working agenda that we're working off of. So if we have to do a hard stop, don't be upset.
And we've covered part of the information that we've sometimes covered by the board reports that were given today. And the SWOT analysis is what I've requested. I notified and mentioned it openly back in July, even August or something like that. Just the strengths, weaknesses, and stuff that going forward kind of speaks to your desire for projections into the future. In addition to what was given today, there'll be more of that at the retreat.
That's what I thought we would be doing, is more of where are we going?
Yeah, and that's why we're doing a SWOT, and then there's more of that. And then Jim Reed, towards the end, will then be giving a legislative update. Where's the state in terms of, how does that affect us going forward? So, and then next year we'll consider your Hawaii location or
Settle for Florida
or
next
Marco
year.
Island. Okay, yeah, we'll just do the
Doesn't have to
retreat
be
in
Hawaii.
March, or team up with your vacation. So. Anything else for new? No. Unfinished business, just the one item?
Well, other than that, I would just mention, since we were just talking about the state of the college information, the second part of this process for administration is we share out the state of the college college-wide or campus-wide, and then in February, we do a town hall presentation and give the campus a chance to provide feedback as well. So just wanted to share that with you, that now that we've discussed it as the board, we now share it out with the campus, so they have the information as well.
Okay.
Okay?
Will we be getting the dates for when those town halls will be held?
February 25th, I believe. Is,
I would think it would be.
yes, they didn't hear me, but February 25th.
Okay.
I'm hoping.
All right. Capital projects update?
Yes, we'll hand it over to Vice President Jinks.
Thank you. I'll try and make this quick. I know we've had a long night. So I wanted to come to the board and talk about capital projects. You guys have heard me talk in the past about my 31 projects that I have going on. Due to some issues and the need for things ramping up down at the downtown campus, I've sat down and come up with a plan on projects that we will delay to allow my team and I to spend a little more time making sure the downtown campus is done properly and completed on time.
That's a good move.
Thank you. So these are projects that are in development or were in development or moving forward that I'm going to delay. The Brightly inventory input and cost projections for future projects, we've been working on this and spending a lot of time currently getting this information in there so that we can get more accurate further predictions. I'm going to delay that for right now. We were working on parking lot 7 rework. This project was going to help with the bus stop in front of the JCSM to make it more ADA accessible. Although this is important, we need to make sure that we can concentrate our efforts on downtown, which is a very high priority. I'm going to place on hold security systems upgrades. We've been upgrading the system, which is out of date. We still have enough parts that we can delay this project for a few months, but we will need to start this back up once downtown is complete. We're going to stop development of the athletic monument signs, which was for the new athletic fields. We're going to stop the development of the ADA compliant SSC atrium stage. I know we've asked in the capital project for additional funding for this. I feel this project is very important, but we do need to get the downtown projects done, and these projects will start back up as soon as we get those accomplished. We're also going to delay the development of the PAR electrical equipment and AV upgrade. Hold off on the generator addition, although I feel that that is a very good thing for the college. I'm going to delay it for several months because of the workload. We also had discovered during the wonderful tuck pointing project some issues with the pipes underneath the Student Center Bridge. This needs to be repaired, but we feel it can hold off and we can start it in the fall. Also holding off on research and development for a possible addition to the ACEC, which was requested by, I believe, Trustee Trojan. So I'm going to hold off on all of those. That being said, I still have a list of items that are too far along that we can't afford to stop. Obviously, that's the Downtown West project, CL2 remodel. We have a BST rigging upgrade that's going on right now. We have a cyber security upgrades that are going on right now, which I believe the board is aware of. We have wireless access point upgrade. They have reached their end of life. We just approved it, I think, today. So we're going to be moving forward with that. We still have to finish the HSC elevator completion, which has stagnated a little, and we're going to get that back on track. We also have 2 additional projects at the BST, which are already bid out and underway, so we continue to move forward with those. We still have fire alarm wiring upgrade in the WTC. I will be delaying the other buildings until after the projects are over, but that project has already started. We do have a CDB project for the resurfacing and upgrades of the roadways. We have the fire science tower. We're waiting for grant money, so we'll continue to monitor that. We have the athletic fields that's going on right now, and of course, we still have to finish the tuck pointing project. So one of the things that was discussed between myself, Dr. Spearman, and Ellen Olson, our Chief Financial Officer, possible ways for a resolution for managing all of the RVC projects. We have a lot of projects that we need to do. We've been managing them. I currently have one project manager, but I believe in the future, with the amount of projects we have currently and the ones we're going to have in the future, we need a second position. Getting that position right now to try and help with downtown would not be beneficial, because by the time I bring them on, by the time I get the situation situated and get them up to speed, the downtown project's going to be over. So in the short term, my plan is to utilize the Executive Director of Plant Operations and Maintenance, Janet Taylor, who is highly versed in construction and projects of this nature, to be assigned as a additional project or the main project manager for downtown, and will assist me in making sure that project moves forward and comes to fruition and is done in a timely manner. The day-to-day supervision of the POM will be delegated to one of the director positions. I've already had conversations with them, and this will remain in place until we complete the downtown project. Once the downtown project is complete, by then we should have the second project manager on, and we should be able to distribute some of the load. My current project managers and people under me are taxed to the limit right now, and we need to come up with a better solution for that. Any questions?
So you're basically looking to add a person
Yes, sir.
to help you.
And this, in part, came from discussions I believe President Spearman was already having with the staff, but then I suggested to President Spearman if you needed help, even on a temporary basis, to kind of move forward with it, based on their discussions, as Rick said, based on their workload now, it would actually, training somebody would distract them, but in the long term, they're looking for somebody in addition to who they have now. And I said, well, that's really a staff issue and your budget. If you can work it out, that's up to you. So, John.
Do we have an idea of a salary range and where the money will come from?
So we do have a salary range. It's,
Low
forget,
80s, 80 to
yeah, 84, I think. And as far as the money is concerned, I'll let CFO Olson speak to that.
Wave your magic wand there, Al.
As you know, in the past, we've been fortunate to have some excess revenues over expenses, so we will just apply some of that going forward against the new position, so it'll be coming out of our operating funds.
You're always budgeting for more people than you actually get. That's where the money's coming.
Yes, we budget as if we're full staffed 100% of the time, so but we know the reality is we're not.
Any other questions on that? Any other additions to your report? Thank you very much. Look forward to future updates, and we know that you're very busy. We appreciate the work that you and everybody does here. Yes, we want the downtown project done on time. But again, if you got something in one of your projects that's could turn out to be more costly if you put it off, and you need some help or you need some money, just let us know, right? Okay.
Good move, Rick.
Okay, like our architect, just ask us. Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Any other unfinished business?
No more unfinished business.
Okay. President's update.
Thank you for the opportunity to present my report on this evening. January has been an exciting month in regards to weather, community engagement, and student success. We began the year welcoming new faculty at the new faculty orientation and engaging with current faculty at our annual Faculty Development Day. It was great hearing from faculty about their perception of the positive improvements regarding culture on campus. In words of Professor Dr. Martin Quirk, first, by all accounts, from an operational perspective, things ran very smoothly. Both online students and face-to-face students were satisfied and ready to begin their journeys. Classroom Building 1 and other parts of campus were immaculately clean, and all technology was working. Students were on campus early, and in my class actually asked questions and were excited to start. This is a tribute to the current state of the environment at RVC. Finally, I have appreciated the chance to complete the surveys about the institution. Most of all, I have been extremely gratified to see many of the issues raised by myself and colleagues addressed by leadership. Thank you all for that. And I just want to say thank you, Dr. Quirk, for your valued assessment of RVC and our overall faculty for the great work they do in and out of the classroom. In regards to community events, I attended 3 separate events on 3 consecutive days during the weekend that many of community members coined as Dr. Martin Luther King Weekend. First, I attended the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated breakfast with several RVC students, including our student trustee, Isaiah Blake. At the Saturday morning breakfast hosted at Rockford University, several high school students engaged in an oratorical contest. The scholars provided reflections from their position papers inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s values pertaining to civil rights. Second, I attended the Rockford Ministers Fellowship Sunday evening service at St. Paul Church of God in Christ. The Rockford Ministers Fellowship president, Pastor Maurice West, immediately after his sermon, presented the Rock Valley College Foundation with a $30,200 check earmarked for student scholarships. I want to thank them for believing in RVC and the RVC Foundation for helping to make this come to fruition. Last, on the Monday of the MLK Day observance, I attended the Rockford Ministers Fellowship community event. The purpose of the event was to highlight youth in the community. I was also asked to share the great news of the Rockford Ministers Fellowship Scholarship. Again, we had a great start to the year, and I look forward to what the rest of the year has in store for us. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you for working with the ministry to get that scholarship money for them. Thank you very much. Second.
I appreciate it.
Any questions on the president's update? All right, leadership team update.
Greetings, trustees. The National Day of Racial Healing is a part of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation's Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation efforts. 65 students, faculty, and staff participated in a day of storytelling during the Human Library and MLK events on Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, in the Stenstrom Student Center Auditorium. The Office of Cultural Excellence and Belonging hosted the Human Library, an interactive experience that shifts narratives through stories of triumph, perseverance, and resilience. Real people stepped into the roles of books, while attendees became readers, engaging in meaningful dialogue that challenges assumptions and builds understanding. RVC later commemorated the MLK observance by hosting the beloved community MLK as a drum major for Justice Roundtable discussion with special guest Eldridge Skip Gilbert, a renowned educator and former 20-year RVC adjunct instructor. During the event, Skip and I reflected on Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, The Three Evils of Society. Skip shared an impressive story about hosting MLK as a speaker for a campus event during his time as an undergraduate student at Illinois Wesleyan University in 1966. Kudos to Lamise Diab, Cultural Excellence and Belonging Specialist, the CEB staff, and everyone else who contribute to creating an enriching and enjoyable experience. And I want to remind everyone that Black History Month is an annual observed month-long celebration of African American life, history, and culture. Founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson in February 1926, what was formerly known as Negro History Week became a month-long celebration as a way to promote research, perseverance, to research, preserve, interpret, and disseminate information about Black life, history, and culture to the global community. The 2026 Black History Month theme is A Century of Black History Commemorations, and this is according to the Association of the Study of African American Life and History. Black History Month is celebrated annually in February, and Rock Valley College will celebrate Black History Month with numerous events and activities, beginning with the annual Ebony Breakfast on Friday, February 6, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Stenstrom Student Center atrium. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Any questions on the report?
Have
Thank
one
you.
thing.
Go ahead.
Dr. Barnes, can you speak to the MLK event that you hosted, the stories? Did you share that?
Yeah, the Human Library?
Yes, did you
Yeah.
say that? Oh, I missed that. Okay, thank you. I don't know where I went.
You want to attack me with scissors to cut this thing off, and you're not even listening to him. Come on now. All right. I thought I was tired. All right,
pills
next
for
one.
that.
I was going to say, do you want to borrow some of mine?
Good evening. Every year, members of college leadership are required to complete the Statement of Economic Interest pursuant to the Illinois Governmental Ethics Act. The purpose of this form is to ensure transparency and accountability in government, allowing the public to identify potential conflicts of interest for officials and employees. The filers are designated based upon their duties and level of authority. Individuals occupying roles with significant responsibility for governance, financial oversight, policy development, or institutional decision-making are included on this list. These designated positions include the college president, members of the president's cabinet, elected board members, and supervisors whose responsibilities may directly or indirectly influence matters of public trust and institutional integrity. The notification to eligible members will go out starting February 1st, and members may begin filing as of March 1st. Statements are due by May 1st and may be submitted electronically or mailed in. Questions may be directed to Mrs. Christine Lott, Director of Employee Relations and Human Resources. Additionally, the college would like to acknowledge the passing of 2 community leaders, Mr. Scott Christensen, former County Board Chair for Winnebago County, and Reverend George Scott, NAACP President and RVC alumnus. We take this time to recognize the impact their lives have had on the Rockford community. This concludes my update. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you very much for the report. Thank you.
I'm going to give Dr. Pyer's report prior to my report since he had to leave early tonight. So from Dr. Pyer, good evening, trustees. A few quick updates for you this evening. This past week, the Offices of Student Life, Intercultural Student Services, and Student Activities held a wonderful and fun-filled welcome week. Activities included a community resource fair, club and organization fair, a mental health check-in event, and the week was capped off with a very entertaining hypnotist, David Anthony. On January 16th, Student Government and the Student Life Office held their spring student leadership training for all club and organization executive boards. 35 student leaders from 20 clubs and organizations participated. The day included training on budget and travel procedures, event planning logistics, and leadership development activities. Finally, I want to inform the board that one of the food vendors, Subway, in the Stenstrom Student Center, recently notified the college that they would be ceasing their campus operation effective immediately. The college is actively working to seek new vendors to complete a request for information to review and ultimately establish a new food service partner for that space. Student input and representation will be sought as part of this process, and that concludes Dr. Pyer's report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to answer a question on Dr. Pyer's report, or try?
If there are any questions, maybe somebody can answer.
I think I brought this up to Dr. Pryor, but I hope he's able to get which to consider coming here. They have very good food, and they're a national chain, and they're very highly ranked. And the only one I know of is at Kelly's Market on Riverside.
Thank you.
We'll
They do
have some
employ
type
Rock
of
Valley students, I guarantee you.
RFI or something? Wait, go ahead, speak to our process.
Yes, because this is a situation where it's not really a bid, because we only share the profits with the individuals. We do what's called a request for information type procedure, where we go out and actually Dr. Pyer does them all, mainly. We go out and gather information from people who might want to be a vendor of ours, and we usually go through a taste testing process and other things and get people involved, and then we select who they think the best vendor would be, and then it's up to myself and Ellen to discuss the potential contracts with them, and then obviously bringing in Matt for that process.
Any questions?
I have a comment to make. I know the student government, we have been actively looking for recommendations from the student body, especially in the club involvement fair. We had multiple different types of food vendors that the students voted on. So that's something that we want to also suggest, as well, and have some input in.
Yeah, if you can, Dr. Pyre is the one who's kind of spearheading this, so yeah,
Yeah.
if you take that to him, he'll run with it.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this?
Do we have a list of diverse businesses that minority owned? I know that pizza is Italian, but I'm just thinking, do we have a list, or do we normally just work with American food, or,
Regarding all businesses in the area?
We don't have one specifically for food vendors, so we could, I'll entertain anybody who wants to become a vendor and basically, find out what the general consensus is as who might be the best, so.
Yeah, I would
for our
encourage students, staff, board members to forward the names of the businesses and the contact information to Dr. Pyre.
Yes,
Is
for
that-
two
Is
reasons.
that appropriate?
For the RFI, but also if you want that vendor to be a caterer, a certified caterer for us,
Right.
then provide us that information. We'll reach out and let them know what the process is. And many of them will cover the certificate of insurance to become a caterer. Some don't, but if you have recommendations, please share them out.
I guess the quick reason, quickly, that I ask is because within a 3-day period, I had Japanese, Mexican, and American food at, different restaurants, and I thought, oh my gosh, only in America, here in Rockford. So then, as I think about that diversity out there, it's just, I think, what about the food in here? So as we're talking about that, yeah, if I think of anybody else, send it on.
Yeah, and I had day-old sushi out of a truck, and maybe that's why I didn't feel so well the past week, so. So, John,
So, do we still have the pizza vendor down there?
Papa John's is still there, yes.
Okay. I have a couple more ideas. I'll just forward them on.
Okay, perfect.
yeah, like you said, there's a number of options which might be a little bit more diverse than maybe we've had in the past, and I appreciate Gloria's comments on it. And I know you've got a client or two that
Well, Olivo Tacos.
yeah, Olivo Tacos, so. All right.
But there's got to be a market. I assume that's the reason Subway left.
No, it's not. That's all.
Yeah, it was.
They were having, call it personnel issues
Okay.
and ownership change.
Suffice to say, as far as trustees, all we need to know is they've served us notice and they left, so. Okay. What?
All right.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, any leadership team, your
I'll
report.
continue with my updates now. Then the enrollment update, we are 2 weeks into the spring semester and enrollment has exceeded our goals. As of today, spring is about flat compared to last year, 9% ahead of budget and 4% ahead of the stretch goal. When summer to fall, winter, and spring are combined, fiscal year 2026 year-to-date credit hour enrollment is 3% ahead of last year, 8% ahead of budget, and 3% ahead of the stretch goal. Second update, in light of recent immigration concerns and activities, I want to remind trustees about HB 1312. Under this measure, Illinois community colleges must develop and file with the Illinois Community College Board written procedures for handling inquiries or visits from federal immigration agents. Post on the college website clear information about who students can contact for assistance and prohibit employees from disclosing any students' or employees' citizenship or immigration status without a warrant, subpoena, court order, or the individual's written consent. RVC's Administrative Procedure 110070, Employee Guidance for Official Inquiries Concerning Authorities and Immigration, is available on the college website. Finally, I would like to publicly thank our Integrated Post-Secondary Education Data System, or IPEDS, key holder, Charlotte Parsons, for completing our winter collection more than 3 weeks early. We received an email of appreciation from the National Center of Education Statistics recognizing this accomplishment. The IPEDS winter surveys include cost, graduation rates, outcome measures, and financial aid. Early submission would not have been possible without extensive support from the Financial Aid Office and Charla's coordination efforts. And that concludes my report.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So good evening, trustees.
Good
I
evening.
have some very exciting news. 2 of Rock Valley College's employees are being recognized by the American Association of Community Colleges as finalists for national awards in various categories. AACC made the announcement today and posted the information on their website. I'll share some excerpts from the submissions that were presented to AACC. So the first employee we have is Brittany Freiberg. She's a finalist for the AACC award for the Rising Star Award. This award recognizes promising community college professionals, specifically honoring Rising Star Manager and Rising Star Executive as part of the annual Awards of Excellence. These awards highlight individuals who show exceptional potential and make significant impacts within their institutions. With the heart of a visionary and the hand of a builder, Brittany Freiberg exemplifies leadership from the middle. As Chief Development Officer at Rock Valley College Foundation, Brittany has spearheaded transformational fundraising initiatives while cultivating a culture of collaboration, innovation, and impact. With over 13 years of service at RVC and a background spanning program development, major giving, and nonprofit leadership, she has earned a sterling reputation as a change maker who elevates people, processes, and systems. For example, Brittany has modernized donor stewardship, developed new philanthropic partnerships, and launched creative campaigns that have reshaped how the college approaches fundraising and donor relations. Under her leadership, RVC saw repeat giving increase, year-end contributions double, and major donor participation expand. These were driven in part by a data-powered segmentation model that allowed for personalized outreach at scale. Brittany led the streamlining of gift processing, which reduced errors and turnaround time by 30%, and she revamped donor acknowledgement systems to ensure every gift was personally recognized within 48 hours. Her fingerprints are on virtually every major fundraising effort in recent memory, including $78,000 raised for scholarships via the CEO Challenge in celebration of our 60th anniversary, $2.4 million in pledges secured for the Downtown West campus, $1 million plus raised for scholarships through the RVC Strong campaign for student success, $300,000 to launch a tech bus to connect students to education through mobile access, secured sponsors for the 2023 Smart Camp cohort at the Advanced Technology Center. She created the annual scholarship luncheon to forge connections between donors and scholarship recipients to deepen giving and enhance student support. Her unwavering commitment to service, sustainable impact, and future forward-leading leadership reflects the spirit of the Rising Star Award and confirms her status as one of the most promising emerging leaders in higher education. The next employee of Rock Valley College.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Does she know this?
Yes.
She does now?
Yes, she does know.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
When will the award be made?
In April.
April?
April, yeah. So we are finalists, and then we'll know if we win in April when we go to the actual convention. Yeah. Then this other person doesn't like too much spotlight, even though they're in a position of spotlight. But it's kind of funny that they don't like the spotlight. So I'm going to defy them a little bit. So the next category we won in was Outstanding Chief Executive Officer of the Year Award, and chosen by those who know his leadership most intimately, 8 vice presidents and 2 executive assistants. His nomination for the Outstanding Chief Executive Officer Award stands as a testament of trust, respect, and shared belief. And now, with great pride, we celebrate that the American Association of Community Colleges has named Dr. Howard Spearman as a finalist for its 2026 national honor. recognizing excellence among community colleges CEOs across the United States. He builds people as deliberately as he builds institutions. A 3-tier leadership academy rose under his guidance, nurturing executives, managers, and future leaders alike, called the Golden Eagles, the Blue Eagles, and the Gray Tiers Academy. Mentorship has flourished. Listening became structured. Succession became intentional. And from this, a culture emerged, rooted in trust, inclusiveness, and opportunity. In just 2 years, more than $10 million in state and federal workforce grants followed his leadership, not by chance, but by conviction. Dr. Spearman leads with steadiness and imagination, with humility and resolve. His story is not simply one of achievement, but of transformation, a reminder that true leadership does not command from above, but true leadership lifts from within. The executive leadership team collectively congratulates Dr. Spearman and Brittany Feiberg for being selected as finalists for these prestigious national awards. I thank you.
Well deserved.
Can I just say, Dr. Stewart, that was eloquently spoken. I love that. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Mine won't be solo again. It is that time of the year again when the Broadway World Regional Awards, which is an annual community-driven honors presented by the Broadway World, a major online theater news outlet covering Broadway, off-Broadway, and regional theater worldwide. These awards recognize excellence in local and touring theater productions across cities and regions, with each area, such as Chicago, hosting its own set of categories honoring work produced during a defined season. Nominations and winners are determined entirely through public online voting rather than a panel of critics, making the awards a reflection of the audience engagement and the community enthusiasm. Last year, Starlight won 7 first-place awards in this grouping. This year, Starlight improved and won 8. The 8 productions, or the 8 winning categories for RVC were Best Dance Production, SpongeBob the Musical, Best Lighting Design of a Play or Musical, Brian Riviera, Ragtime, Best Direction of a Musical, Chris Brady, Ragtime, Best Performer in a Musical, Alex McIntyre, Ragtime, Best Scenic Design of a Play or Musical, Brandon Meckler, Ragtime, Best Sound Design of a Play or Musical, Aaron Hill, The Wedding Singer, Best Theater for Young Audience Productions, Mary Poppins, and most importantly, favorite local theater was the Rock Valley College Starlight Theater.
Nice.
I know the amount of effort that Chris Brady and his team put into each of these productions, and they do a first-class job. We are now seeing the benefits of their hard work, and I want to congratulate the entire Starlight crew, volunteers, and actors. They do a wonderful job representing our college and our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Rick? Any questions for Rick? Okay.
So my leadership update is not so uplifting. I just want to let you know, on January 22nd, the Governor's Office of Management and Budget, or GOMBI, issued a follow-up memorandum implementing Executive Order 2025-05, which directed certain agencies to hold specific amounts within their enacted FY26 general fund appropriations. And this purpose of this action was to help the state manage fiscal and economical uncertainty associated with federal actions and broader ongoing economic uncertainty. So ICCB was required to implement a 2% reserve, and the fiscal year 26 allocation released in July did not include the additional 2% for the base operating grants, as it was subject to governor's approval. With the implementation of the Executive Order 2025-05, the additional 2% will not be released. The impact to Rock Valley College is approximately $111,000 that we will not receive. If you've been following the recent announcements, the Illinois Board of Higher Education, the FY27 budget request included a 2.4% increase for community colleges. We will continue monitoring and factor this information in as we plan for fiscal year 27.
Any questions for Ellen?
Yeah.
John?
So, did I hear the number right? 111,000 was withheld?
Just for Rock Valley College, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thanks very much for the report.
Thank you.
Good evening, trustees. In keeping with the pillar of exceptional training, we offered 3 events designed to provide our instructional staff with a robust professional development. On Wednesday, January 7th, we offered a virtual adjunct orientation, welcoming adjuncts to RVC and providing a clear understanding of our mission, vision, and strategic plan. Approximately 12 adjuncts were able to attend. On Thursday, the next day, we offered a full-day new faculty orientation, welcoming our 3 new faculty to the RVC team. Administration and staff joined together to ensure a strong onboarding. And finally, as Dr. Spearman mentioned, on Friday, January 9th, we had our Winter Faculty Development Day with a focus on public trust. The event was hosted at the ATC, and Dr. Flower Darby was our keynote speaker. Members of Cabinet facilitated listening sessions focused on our employee culture survey, and workshops were offered on caring campus and digital accessibility. There's tremendous work that goes into the coordination of such events, and so we extend a wholehearted thank you to POM, IT, and everybody that helped make this a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Any other leadership team? Okay, I'm going to skip on the agenda. I'm going to move to personnel report. Anybody have any question on the personnel report?
No.
Anybody have any question on the Freedom of Information Act report?
No.
Okay, moving to the student trustee report.
Thank you. To the board of trustees, the chair and president, Dr. Spearman, I present to you my January 27, 2026 student trustee report. I've decided to take this opportunity for my student report to address a concerning, familiar issue that has been becoming commonplace on many campuses. This is a discussion that I've had with many other student trustees from different campuses across the state of Illinois, some of whom have been affected by this, and that is the threat of ICE that has been increasingly happening within the past year and a half. I know many of you may have different political viewpoints and different opinions about it, but I want to address it from a student point of view. And that point of view is that many international students, many undocumented students, and many students of Hispanic heritage are afraid of what's going on in this country. They feel targeted and feel a sense of helplessness. I'm not here to debate whether this situation is right or wrong by itself, but whether it is right or wrong in terms of the responsibilities that we have as an educational institution. Students come here to learn, to grow, to create opportunities for themselves, become better, to pursue a better life for themselves and their family. They come for education opportunities that were never accessible to them in their home country or where they were from, or to accomplish things that their parents migrated here to make possible, to give their children an opportunity to make a life for themselves so that they could give their children a better chance of making it in this world. If they couldn't provide a better life, they tried to at least give their children a chance to make it in this world. We, as an educational institution, whether we like it or not, have an obligation and responsibility to the students who go here to Rock Valley College. Just as doctors hold the Hippocratic Oath to save and protect those they care for, no matter what affiliation or what they've done, we should be expected to do the same and hold the same responsibilities towards ourselves and towards our students. Because how can we say we educate all the students we service, have them live in fear of obtaining that education in what they believe is an unsafe environment? If they fear that their freedom will be taken away and that the right we instill as Americans to see education not just as a privilege, but as a human right for everyone, shouldn't all that apply without living in fear of losing one's education and being taken away from it? We should keep this always in mind. The sanctity of education lies in its protection, the ability to pursue your education safely and freely. That responsibility rests in the hands of those who provide what is and should remain a guaranteed right. So, I ask you all to take notice. There are tough times ahead of us with this difficult moral dilemma that we face, with difficult decisions and circumstances that we will have to handle and face as we go. I think no matter how you view this issue, you should all, at the very least, agree with me on this core tenet, that at the end of the day, we should never be intimidated or prevented from providing an education and a safe space to give that education to those who come here to earn it, regardless of the threats, intimidation given by others who may hold higher power. We bear that core responsibility to our students. If we are not willing to accept risk by standing on our morals, then we have not only failed our students, but failed ourselves. I appreciate you all listening to what I have to say on this subject. For my next student trustee update, I will have a full update about some student events happening around campus, along with my observations and an inquiry of how students have been doing at RVC. This concludes my student trustee report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions?
Do you have any instances where you've observed or someone's told you that they're concerned or worried or on campus here?
Not specifically on campus, but in my talks with other student trustees from other colleges when I was at the ICCB meetings, there were talks about this and how many students were, there was an instance in, I think, Wabanese Community College where there was a student taken just immediately by ICE agents there. Another example was our vice president of the student government. He is from, I believe, he is from the Middle East and just became a U.S. citizen about last year, I believe. And he was approached by us and asked for if he had citizenship, to which he said yes, and was told to keep it moving. But this is discussions that we've had, especially in terms of a recent event that was hosted by ALAS. And one of the main things was, and that people were afraid of, was people of Hispanic heritage, especially in the Know Your Rights event that we hosted, in which I sort of asked the questions towards the lawyer that we had. Many of them were afraid of being there in person based upon the threat of, the environment, the political environment, and everything that has been going on recently. We wanted to be able to host that in person, but unfortunately, we weren't able to because of that lingering threat towards students here. So, but I hope that answers your question, Bob.
Any other questions?
So basically, you had not heard anything on our campus?
No.
Good.
Luckily.
Thank you.
Yeah. I had an inquiry regarding our policies responding to ICE and other law enforcement on campus, and President Spearman forwarded the policy that Heather had indicated earlier. It's, in some people's opinions, weak, but it's consistent with what we can and can't do. And one of the key portions of it is we are not either to assist or deter the agents on campus. All right. The only other question that I had regarding the ICE and stuff, what is the deemed public space and what's private? You don't necessarily need, but what would an agent need to go into a private space here? A warrant.
That has been a question that's been asked by a number of colleges. Community colleges are generally pretty open campuses.
Right.
But there are offices or certain classrooms where an ICE agent would need a judicial warrant as opposed to a lot of the immigration administration
law.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Is a classroom that's actively in session public?
It could depend, we'd have to see there's probably an abundance of case law on this. I can't tell you a definitive answer. I think smaller classrooms would presumably be a private classroom if it's shut off with the door, things like that. I think the presumption would be most classrooms are private. I'm not aware of any ICE agents being on any community college campuses besides the Elgin. I think it was an Elgin College incident. But I think most classrooms would be presumed to be private.
Take ICE out of it. Just,
Or any
let's say
law
I walked in and there was a classroom in session, and I just opened the door and sat down and started gabbing. That would be interfering with the course of the classroom at the private space. So, okay. All right. Thank you for your report. I'm going to bounce around again to the RVC Foundation Liaison Report.
Well, there's not much I can say because of what you've already agreed on, but I do want to point to the impact report, which I believe Brittany has sent out to all the trustees, the impact of the foundation, and it was an email, in an email format. But Rachel Vanderhyde, who works at the foundation, was the chief architect of the graphics and putting it all together, and so I think kudos to her. Otherwise, I have nothing else.
Okay, so I'm going to move into trustee comments, and I'm going to start with you, Bob. Do you have anything else to add?
The only thing I want to point out is that I'm going to try to go to the open house this Thursday at the former Stenstrom Center, which is now called the College and Career Education Center, which RPS 205 is opening up, where they're going to have all their new programs and so on. And I think it's from like 4 to 7 with some speeches at 5 o'clock. I'm going to try to get there for that. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to 2026.
I'm going to continue with trustee comments, moving down to...
Just left.
Just left? Okay. Okay, Gloria.
Well, I really didn't have anything prepared, but I do want to follow up on what Trustee Blake just said. Every time that there's a kind of like an uprising of, ICE issues, last year, Dr. Spearman and I can't remember who went with us to Springfield. And on the way back, I told you about what happened to me. When something like this is going on and it's very prominent, that affects us American Hispanics as well. I was telling Dr. Spearman on the way driving back that when I was out collecting signatures for my petition in 2024, I was at a county fair. And this gentleman said he would not sign it because he wouldn't vote for a foreigner. And actually, I kind of turned it around on him because he had just been talking about his family coming from the Mayflower, or right after, or something like that. And after he said he was not going to sign my petition, my response to him was, you just told me about your family coming over on the Mayflower or right around that time. I said, but you know what? My ancestors were here waiting for yours. So technically, that's the truth. Because when people ask me what part of Mexico my ancestors are from, I respond, San Antonio. And they say, wait a minute, that's America. I said, yeah. I said, my ancestors were there before it was San Antonio.
Mayflower.
And yeah, but the point is, it affects us Americans. I mean, I don't know, 4th or 5th generation American. And, but he wouldn't sign my petition because he said I'm a foreigner. And it just goes to show that, as much as we try, what Dr. Barnes is doing and what we're doing here, that's still out there. And although I don't have any fear about getting arrested or anything, but that still affects all of us that are brown or any other color or have an accent. It's real. And, but we can either, dwell on it, or we can say, that's your problem. I have things to do that are going to make America better, and I'm just contributing a little tiny bit what are you doing? So, I mean, I can really get upset about it, but I'm not going to do that. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. My report is just kind of touching on something that was already mentioned. Former County Board Chairman Scott Christensen passed away on Saturday. Scott and I were, for about 12 years, political adversaries, and I was a thorn in his side continually about a number of different things. But when we both got off of the board, him as chair and me as a board member, and as I moved into Rock Valley, we developed a friendship to talk about education because he was a big supporter of RVC, and he recognized how important RVC was to the economic development in the region as a source of training and workforce development. And then also he was a big fan of economic development. And I don't think people recognize all of the projects that he was involved in, whether it was the Criminal Justice Center or the renovation of the Metro Center downtown, now the BMO, that led directly to the Blackhawks acquiring to the Ice Hogs, which are a lasting legacy now to the community, and the Nicholas Conservatory. So, and there's so many other, projects, and it's, for me, it's, some people are asking me, well, why are you, you actually took the guy to court once, and I was just like, you know what, you can learn to put aside certain differences and agree to disagree on certain things and agree on certain other initiatives. And we agreed on education, we agreed on economic development, and we agreed that, this was a great year for the Chicago Bears despite the final turnout in the season. And I say that just because, some people you can have fierce discussions with, but still walk away from and be okay with. So, and I know that Scott was close to Gloria also and kept in touch with Gloria about activities on the RVC board as he did me. So he was very interested in the RVC and RVC community. So he will be missed. So, and I've already given Bob an opportunity to speak. Kristen. So, John, you can team up your trustee comments and your ICTA report, but I'm going to cap you at 2 minutes.
Well, I'll get under that easily. ICTA, the next big thing is really getting ready. I think we have a Zoom meeting to get ready for our lobbying in Washington, D.C. Can't wait to get there and, be wowed by the state of the democracy. I would like to second your comments about Scott Christensen. When I was on the Democratic State Central Committee, I lobbied for both the first woman judge that we had and for the first African American judge, Pat Yarborough, and Chuck Jefferson and I approached the county board and addressed them, and my sales pitch was always, it's embarrassing to go down to Springfield and it's run by Democrats, and we have, I think at that time that Pat got appointed, we had either 28 or 32 judges and not one African American. He was my catcher on the lawyers ball team. And afterwards, after he got appointed, I talked to Scott and I thanked him for his support because he was a mover and shaker. And I always like to thank people who are supportive and sympathetic. And he just turned to me and he said, John, it was the right thing to do. And I think it takes people cooperating, working together, and getting out there as our student trustee has suggested. Back in Gloria and my day, the Vietnam War was a big issue, and I did participate after the Kent State, we called it massacre, in a march on St. Paul with about 500,000 to 600,000 other people, and that kind of that kind of activity is what changes minds, and it takes a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Almost, just a little over, but good. Crystal? Trustee, thank you very much. I think I caught everything under updates and reports. Did I miss anything? Okay. Do we have anything to go into closed again for? Not that I'm aware of. Okay. So the date of our retreat is January 31st, 2026 at 8 a.m., 7:45 if you want to get here when the food gets here. The meeting will be held in the Woodward Technology Center, room 1308, located on the main campus. The date of the next committee of the whole meeting is February 10th, 2026, 5:15 p.m. The meeting will be held in the Performing Arts Room, PAR Room 0214, located in the Educational Resource Center, ERC, on the main campus. And the date of the next regular board meeting is February 24th, 2026, 5:15 p.m. This meeting will be held in the Performing Arts Room, PAR 0214, located in the Educational Resource Center, ERC, on the main campus. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Before we do that, Mr. Chairman, I would like to note for our minutes or record or whatever you want to call it, that the next committee of the whole meeting will be when myself and 2 other trustees are in Washington, D.C. I certainly want to be able to attend by telephone.
By remote. So,
yes.
And so we should have enough. The goal is to have enough for a quorum here, so you can actually call in. We can vote you in. So, okay. Thank you for giving me that heads up. Any other comments on the agenda items? All right. Motion to adjourn. Do I hear one?
So moved.
Seconded.
Trustee Cadillo, Trustee Blake. Roll call.
Trojan, yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Padilla?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Soltow?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Gorski?
Thank you. Somebody help me with a pen and whatever else is here. Is there anything here?